Well, I'm going to be blatantly honest right out of the gate here, guys. Kind of saw this one coming. Just because of the way everything was shaping up, right? The Leafs in the second night of a back-to-back. Carolina, a team that is fighting for their playoff lives. 1 point in a playoff spot. You know, obviously with Columbus and Montreal battling it out right now for that second wildcard spot, it's still like a 1 or 2 point gap between all three teams, which is crazy. They're desperate. The Leafs just clinched their third seed. They're not going anywhere. They're just kicking their feet up. And Garrett Sparks in net for the Leafs. No Jake Muzzin. No Andreas Johnsson. Everything is pointing to the Leafs losing. And that's exactly what happens. They lose 4-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes at Scotiabank Arena. Now, it didn't start off great for the Leafs as they couldn't get any shots on net. Shots were 10-2 after one period of play for the Carolina Hurricanes. It was 10-3, and it was a 1-0 Leaf lead at one point. But they go to review, and Nylander was offside. And the goal gets called back. And the funny thing is, and you know what happens, it's the hockey gods. Not long after that, just under 2 minutes to play in the first period, Justin Williams, below the goal line, centers it. It hits Garrett Sparks, his skate, and in. All right. Great job, Sparksy. Good job. And the Leafs down 1-0 after one period. Shots on goal, like I said, are 10-2. And just a horrendous first period by the Leafs. They didn't get anything going. They just looked awful. Second period rolls around. 2:13 in on the power play. Dougie Hamilton scores. Now, how did this power play happen? Martin flipping Marincin, an interference penalty. He's kind of just like tackling a guy behind Garrett Sparks. I'm not sure what's going on there. He gets the gate for interference. And then Dougie Hamilton backdoor, great first save by Garrett Sparks. But the problem, he's flying around like a fish out of water, and he's flat in his face. And Dougie Hamilton's behind the net, and he's like, oh, I'm just going to bank it off him. And he hits the pad of Garrett Sparks. And Sparks like, I feel it. I'm going to squeeze my legs together. And he more or less kicks the puck in. So 2 goals that Garrett Sparks should have. And it's just brutal. Now the Leafs, look, they weren't playing well at all. I'm not gonna say he's the only reason why they were losing. The Leafs were not playing well whatsoever. But the goals he let in were so small, so like, Garrett Sparks, you just want to smack him around a little bit. Maybe where you want a Curtis McElhinney. We miss him dearly. And I really thought he was going to play tonight, and I was like, this is just going to be even better. But he didn't. Peter Mrazek was in net for the Carolina Hurricanes. And then midway through the second period, right off the face-off, goes back to the point to Morgan Rielly, who fires it to the net, and then it gets tipped by Nazem Kadri. Tavares picks up the loose puck. He has one chance at a big save by Mrazek, but he gets his own rebound and pots in his 47th goal of the year. To make it a 2-1 game midway through the second. We're feeling all right. You got the goal back. The momentum's in the Leafs' favor, and the Leafs pummel the shots. Yes, it was 13-12 in favor of Carolina in the second period, but the Leafs did come on there after that Tavares goal. You go to the third period. 5 or 6 minutes into the period, the Leafs are shooting at will at Peter Mrazek, but you can't beat him. And we go back to that goal that was disallowed. Imagine if it counted. First off, you have a 1-0 lead. And if all else goes the same way, it's 2-2 hockey game. But instead, you're trailing 2-1. And then at 9:36 in, look, I love Travis Dermott. But through the legs pass into the neutral zone is never a good thing to do in your own zone. Nino Niederreiter picks it up back to Jordan Staal, and he rips it past rips it past Garrett Sparks to make it a 3-1 game, and that was pretty much all she wrote there. Dougie Hamilton with the empty netter at the end, and that's it. I mean, Leafs get outshot 37-24. Look, like I said, they played not a bad second period. and the first 5 or 6 minutes of the third. But other than that, not a good game for the Leafs. It's a terrible first period. They didn't start the second period well, and they did not play the good second half of the third period. I mean, they weren't good. Bottom line. But you kind of saw it coming, right? Andreas Johnsson, Jake Muzzin out, back-to-back. We're not really a desperate team right now. Carolina is, right? And it's just that kind of... And Carolina's a damn good team as well. You can't put that past them. They're 44, 29, and 7. They're playing great hockey. They're 6 and 4 in the last 10. They had that first wild card spot. They're a solid team. But as for the Leafs, you have 2 games left before the playoffs kick off on April 10th. That first game is at home against the Tampa Bay Lightning on Thursday night. I apologize if my throat's all crazy. Kind of lost my voice a little bit at the Leaf game. Andrei Vasilevsky, Frederik Andersen are the expected starters in that game on Thursday. It's a 7 o'clock puck drop there at Scotiabank Arena. And the finale, the final game of the season, is in Montreal on Saturday night, as the Leafs take on the Habs in the final game of the regular season. 7 o'clock puck drop there at the Bell Center. And that game, it could have some big playoff implications if the standings stay the way they are right now. Because, man, the Habs, the Hurricanes, and the Blue Jackets are all real tight. And I don't think any team wants the second wild card spot. You know why? You got to play Tampa Bay at that point. And nobody wants to see that. Nobody. Terrible thing for the Leafs is, you get past round 1, that's great. You get past Boston, you got to face Tampa. Great job, NHL. Great playoff format. But we're not going to get into that whole spiel because why bother? In the end, the Leafs don't play well tonight, as I kind of had that feeling they were going to look like this, especially because yesterday, it was a 2-1 tight game, right? Everyone's playing, everyone's working hard. It took to the final seconds to win that game against the Islanders and clinch a playoff spot. And then the next night you come home, so you have to travel. Not far, it's in New York, but you got to travel. You don't have one of your better defensemen in Jake Muzzin. Andreas Johnson's been a huge part of this team. He's out, and you bring in flippin' Martin Marincin, who I can't stand. I can't stand the guy. Sorry, can't stand the player. The guy, I don't know Martin Marincin, so I can't say I don't like him. But as a player, I ain't a fan. So, Jake Muzzin and Jake Gardiner sounds like he's going to be back very soon, which is great news for Leaf fans. I can't wait. By the way, Calle Rosen, second NHL game, and I liked what I saw out there from him. He was a smart player. He made some pretty smart plays. There was a couple plays where I'm like, didn't really like what he did. But again, that's the same with everybody tonight. They couldn't make a pass. They were running into each other. They were falling all over the place. There was a 4-on-4 at one point where we're playing back and forth, and I'm like, it's 4-on-4. Let's get something going here. The Leafs really didn't get anything going on their power play. They didn't get anything at all. The Leafs had, 3 power plays? They scored on 1 on the John Tavares goal. That's great. The other 2 were nowhere to be found. And Carolina got 1 power play, and they scored on it. The greasy Dougie Hamilton goal. So, I mean, that's it, guys. You know what? That's going to do it for this one. You guys enjoy this video, and you guys did not enjoy the game today. Smack that like button. I do appreciate that. And the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below. What'd you think of the game, the video? Who'd you like in this game? Who'd you not like? I didn't like Garrett Sparks, as usual. You can look at numbers and statistics and say, well, he only have 33 goals on 37 shots. That's not bad. Yeah, but 2 of the 3 goals were little grease snot balls that I could save. I mean, I don't know about that, but he's an NHL goaltender. They re-signed the guy, for goodness sakes. You gotta start playing well, Garrett Sparks, because, man, I don't have confidence this guy going into the playoffs as our backup. What if Freddie goes down at all? Last year we had McElhaney, so we're like, okay, at least he's a stable factor back there. Now I'm scared for my life. So I don't know what the heck's going to happen, guys, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts towards all this stuff. And Evan and I will talk to you guys podcast edition. It'll be tomorrow afternoon. A link is in the description for the podcast channel and for the podcast itself on iTunes. Twitter is also down below. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. And I will talk to you guys Blue Jays edition as they lost again today. That's 3 straight for the Toronto Blue Jays. Oh, boy. They're now 2-4 on the season, and they wait till the 9th inning to score any runs, and it was a solo shot from Rowdy Tellez to make it a 2-1 game, but that's the way it ended. So that's all she wrote for the Jays. We'll talk about that in a little bit here, guys. As for the Raptors, their next game is tomorrow night in Brooklyn, taking on the Nets. As Raptors look for their 5th straight victory, they look to continue to form the chemistry. Heading into the playoffs, we are not far away from playoff time for basketball and hockey. There's only 2 games left for hockey. Basketball, I think there's like 4, I want to say. But I think, yeah, there's 4 games left for basketball. We're right at the end, people. We all know where we're seeding. So let's just try and grind through these last games and get to the playoffs. All right? And as for the Leafs, guys, like we said, they take on the Tampa Bay Lightning on Thursday at Scotiabank Arena. I mean, look, it could possibly be a round 2 preview. I don't really see. Well, just the way playoffs work, these teams will look totally different in the playoffs. Tampa Bay Lightning, Toronto Maple Leafs, 7 o'clock puck drop there at Scotiabank Arena. Andrei Vasilevskiy, Frederik Andersen, the expected starters in that game. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you guys then.